Hey, what's up, guys? This is Richard Adams with the Rich Perspectives Podcast, and this is our actual first official podcast of 2018. The last one that we did was the intro to the podcast and just a little bit about myself. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. But this is the actual first official podcast of 2018, and this one is entitled "Change Your Mind, Change Your Life." Change your mind, change your life. The reason why I chose this one is because it's actually our slogan or our coin phrase, if you will. Change your mind, change your life. It's all in how you see it. This is paramount in your day to day living, your aspirations, your goals, your career ambitions. Change your mind, change your life. Three questions. What are you thinking? How do you see yourself? And well, this last one is actually not a question, but it's you're never subject to the thoughts of another. Or I could ask a question: do you feel subject to the thoughts of another? This one is paramount to me because growing up, a lot of people actually did not know this about me. Um, I actually had low self esteem. That was something that I dealt with for quite some time in my adolescence. Preteens, early teens, even late teens and early adulthood. Um, I was raised by a single mother for the first 11, 12 years of my life. I'm the youngest and the only male child. And my one of my mom's sisters and her kids had moved in with us as well. So I had no example of what it was to be a man. And so growing up, I mean, it is what it is. I had a lot of feminine characteristics or tendencies, if you will. Um, and I mean, just to be frank, I act just like a little girl. And there was no male bonding or any of that in the household. So I felt inadequate. And so when I would go into like social settings, my mom had a friend who was a single mother as well, and she actually had two boys. And me and her son became really great friends, joined the Boy Scouts together. And we're actually still friends today. He's my longest, oldest, best, greatest friend ever. Shouts out Darian. But it was funny because a lot of times when I was with him and them, like they didn't even know, how I was feeling on the inside because they were active. They, were sports fanatics. They knew how to be, if that makes sense. And so I felt inadequate, and so I began to suffer and struggle with low self esteem. And it was not only about how I felt about myself, but it turned into how I looked. Didn't like the way I looked. Um, it's interesting now because some people say, well, dang, man, you went from one extreme to the total opposite. But it turned to how I looked. And I literally would look in the mirror and hate what I saw. And so I would go to school, get ridiculed, get picked at by everybody. I was not cool enough or masculine enough or boyish enough for the boys, and I was just good enough for the girls to be their friend, not their boyfriend, but a boy that's their friend. And I was attracted to the ladies. I like girls. I wanted to have a girlfriend too. And I did have girlfriends, in school and everything. But I was never enough as far as some was concerned, and it ended up transcending to what you know I felt about myself was that I wasn't enough. I didn't measure up. I wasn't masculine enough. I wasn't athletic enough. I didn't do this enough. I didn't wear my hair like this. I didn't wear my jeans like that. And the irony is, when I tell people about it now, everybody talks about how like, damn man, Rich, you was a man in school. You had all the ladies, all the girls like you. They talked about how fly they thought I dressed. Somebody told me recently, nah, man, you were one of the popular kids. And I was like, what? And I don't remember that class, but hey, it is what it is. But what happened was, I did not know how to contend with my feelings. I just knew that I did not like the way that I felt. And, they say knowledge is power. Knowledge is one of the most powerful assets one could have. Education is key, this, that, and third, which is true. All those things are true. But I always tell people there's one thing that trumps knowledge, at least in my opinion, and I call it the sixth sense, and it's desire. A lot of people don't have access to education, so because they don't have the knowledge of a thing, don't mean you just have to stop there. Use your desire to fuel it, and that's what I did. I desired to feel better about myself. I did not like feeling the way that I felt. So what I did was I implemented something, and I did not know what I was doing. I didn't know how powerful it was, and I did not know the weight of it. I got in the mirror, and I would start telling myself, hey, you're handsome. You look really nice today. That's a beautiful smile you got there, man. Those clothes are pretty fly. That's a fresh cut you got. My hair's gone now. But I would tell myself that. Never even taking into account that my words were powerful and that my words were framing what was soon to be my world. Never knew that. Never even fathomed it. I just did it because I knew I was sick and tired of feeling the way that I felt about myself. So I never forget this day. I think I was 19, maybe 20. And I was at work. I was working for this warehouse. And I had to make deliveries to one of the main employers here in the CSRA. And so I went there and I dropped off my packages. And it's a day I was not feeling good about myself. I just felt like trash, and I just wasn't good enough for this, wasn't good enough for that. And you ugly, black, your lips big, your teeth yellow. Still had braces at that time. You too old for these braces. All that. It was all just terrible. And I remember putting the van in reverse, and I looked back to make certain nothing was behind me. And then when I turned around, I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror, in the rearview mirror, and I was like, "Whoa!" What I felt, I did not see. The bad, the ugly, the pain. I didn't see that in the mirror, and that was the day that I realized that what I had been doing with the I ams, telling myself who and how I am. And that was the day that I realized that, wow, I must be on to something. And essentially, I got over my low self-esteem. It was at that moment that I told myself, you don't have to be subject to the thoughts of another. So what? You don't like sports. You don't have to like sports. It has nothing to do with your anatomy. It has nothing to do with your manhood. It does not mean that you are not a male because you're not like the rest. Even if you're the only one, it still doesn't mean that you're not enough or you're not good enough for the masses. You're good enough for you. So that should be good enough for the world. And the funny thing about it is me now being a barber, being in the barber shop, sports talk come up all the time. And they still laugh at me to this day. Hey, Rich, man, but you don't know nothing about that, right? Who your team is? I'm like, man, I ain't got no team. I'm watching sports. And I'm comfortable and I'm confident in it because I'm standing in my essence, in who I am. If it's not enough for you, that's a problem for you. That belongs to you, not me. So that's what I had to do. I had to change my mind and change my life. I had to change the way I thought about myself. Just because everybody else, even if everybody in the world thinks that you're unattractive, that does not mean that you're unattractive. That's just popular opinion. That changes every day. Period. You determine who you are, where you are, how you feel, and where you're going to go. It's your choice. Change your life. Change your mind. Change your mind, change your life. How do you see yourself? I use that desire to fuel my change. I got so sick and tired of feeling negative about myself, my circumstances, my situation. And so it started to transcend into my career. In the previous podcast, when I talked about me getting into barbering and getting everything going with my school and my other barbershop and everything, um, that's what I did. I was working at a job that I essentially did not like, was not getting paid enough money, and I had this skill with my hands where I had been cutting hair at this point for 7, 8 years, and I couldn't give it all because I'm cutting that time in half to go and work for this company. And so I ended up being fired from there. Didn't quit, got fired again, but I got fired from there. And that's what I did. I started to build my career in barbering. I saw myself as this great barber. And the shop that I was working at the time, it didn't really have the greatest name on the streets, we'll say. So it was older father and son that operated the barbershop before I came on the scene. And basically, their time had passed as far as the people were concerned. Um, that shop wasn't hitting no more. It wasn't hot. New shop had opened this way, and new shop had opened this way. So people pretty much just split. They had their own, choices. And that was where I decided to go to get my apprenticeship and to get my training so that I could become licensed. One of the things that happened was me going to that shop, they actually taught me and they instilled so much in me, and I'm still here today. Some of my counterparts that went started apprenticeships the same time that I did, they still don't have a license to this day. And we're talking 18 years ago. Right. So back to how do you see yourself? Like I said, the shop wasn't, the greatest. They had just started closing down on Tuesdays and was entertaining the idea of closing on Wednesdays as well, just opening up Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And I remember telling him, no license, I was just an apprentice. No license. My skill set was okay. Could have been cutting hair at home for quite some time, but I wasn't, a professional. And so without any license or credentials, without, any, barbershop experience, I told him, I said, no, we don't have to do that because I'm here now. And that had nothing to do with I'm so great. I'm Richard Adams. I'm in the room. It was none of that. But I knew that something was going to change. Something was going to happen. Something was going to give. It was my mindset, the way that I went in. I changed my mind. Therefore, I changed my life. It's all in how you see it. Perception is everything. One of the things my wife and I talk about all the time is our internal dialogue. Internal dialogue is an ugly beast. It will kill you dead all the time and everything around you. So you have to change the way that you think a thing. You change the way that you think a thing, you will change the way you see a thing. And when you change the way you see a thing, you will change the way a thing be a thing. Change your mind. Change your life. It's all in how you see it. How do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself are? What exactly are you thinking? You are never subject to the thoughts of another. Rich Perspectives Podcast 2018. We are here, and that's it. That is our close. We didn't have much for you guys tonight, but that is our close. So that is my challenge for you guys. Like I told you before in the intro, we'll have a little bit of the podcast, go over our subject, chop it up a little bit, and then we will have our close, and we'll issue a challenge. Maybe I give out a rich perspectives or throw out some type of initiative. And so my challenge for you guys between now and the next podcast, now and the next minute, to change your mind. Change your mind about the way you see a thing. Change your mind about what happened to you, the last thing that got on your nerves, the last thing that bothered you. Real quick, I was talking to an individual last night over social media, and they were expressing that they had an issue with things that people or an individual was doing, and they could not get past the fact that they're bothered, and they could not understand why they allowed it to bother them. And so I was explaining to this individual, I said, well, the thing is, You're bothered by the fact that it bothers you more than the actual act. You got to take your power. It's all your choice. Change your mind, change your life. You get to decide what happens with the actions of another. Can you control it? No. Everybody quotes that prayer, Lord, grant me the serenity to change, and I mean, accept what I can't change, and the wisdom to change what I can. Everybody prays that prayer. Nobody either, most people don't understand it, and nobody really means it. So you really have the power to change the way what somebody does affects you. You do. Change your mind, change your life, change how you see it, change the impact and effect that it has on you. You have to take your power back. And that's what I was telling an individual last night. Take your power back. It does not have to bother you. It bothers you because you allow it to. And in all actuality, the actual act is not really bothering you. It's the fact that it bothers you. That's what's bothersome. You can probably deal with the act easy, but you don't like the fact that it bothers you. They have control over you. Change your mind, change your life. So that is my challenge for you guys between now and the next very minute. Just think about something that happened today or yesterday or, hey, even last year. We're only in the second day of 2018. Think about something that happened that you did not like. Maybe it was a reaction that you gave that you're not happy with, you're displeased with. Maybe it was, even a death in the family. That's something serious, And maybe you're still anguishing over it, Maybe you're grieving over it. Change your mind, change your life. Just try it because it really is all in how you see it. You got the power. Rich Respecters. We out.